So with this, I'd like to introduce Judy O'Hagan, who heads Human Resources for North America at Sanofi. Judy has been, within our company, certainly instrumental in really moving our company into this, and I can tell you that this was not in the culture of the organization, and within a very short time frame, being able to become accredited is really as a result of her personal commitment in this area. And having done that at Sanofi, she has now been our task force leader on the Cancer Gold Standard. So, Judy, I'd like to first thank you for all that you've done for Sanofi employees, but also I'd like to thank you for your leadership on the Gold Standard and invite you to provide a report and then introduce the panel.
Thank you and good morning. And before I get started, I'd like to add my words of wow to this really wonderful facility, and also just the incredible hospitality and graciousness of everybody I've encountered since arriving here. So it's really fantastic. And Marty, I was going to give you credit for that rainbow this morning, but thanks for clarifying that. And Charles Hugh Jones and I were wondering where the pot of gold was at the end of the rainbow, and we pulled up in front of this building and we figured we'd found it. So it's really lovely, and we're so delighted to be here. So, and Chris, I was recalling your words from last night when you first joined us in Bridgewater, and he was saying how he saw the smoke shack and referenced that we needed to get rid of that pronto. What he didn't mention, he was looking at me when he said that. So we were so thrilled to be able to move to the accreditation. So thank you very much for the opportunity to address you here this morning. My name is Judy O'Hagan. As Chris indicated, I head up Human Resources for Sanofi in North America. And 2011 marked my second year as the chair of the Cancer Gold Standard Task Force. And it's a privilege and a pleasure to be back here today to report in on our progress and also provide a glimpse ahead, if you will. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look back. And you had some fun foreshadowing of some of our accomplishments in 2011 in terms of covered lives, but also some qualitative enhancements to our program. And then we're going to take a look ahead, share with you some of our key focus points for 2012, really looking at taking the gold standard global, but also looking at maximizing our impact. Are we really making the difference that we endeavor to make? And that will lead nicely into a panel discussion. We want to have an opportunity to really take a look at the gold standard's impact on employee health. Because really our goal is not just to get accreditation, it's to improve lives and protect our employees. So a look back, a look ahead, and an opportunity for dialogue. And we do hope that there's a lot of good participation with our panel, as Chris referenced. So you heard a little bit about this last night. We're really thrilled. This chart shows you our progress. We started in 2006. We were a fledgling group. 6 pilot companies made the commitment to go for the gold. And you'll see our progress between 2006 and 2011 since we met last time a year ago. And we're so proud and delighted to report that we, since last year, added 46 companies. So we are now at 122 organizations who have achieved the gold standard, and we are touching 3 million lives. So special thanks to the task force. This is not easy work. It's a rigorous standard. It takes incredible dedication and persistence, and so all of the members of our task force are to be really commended for the persistence and the tenacity and the commitment it takes to really achieve the gold standard. So we're really pleased and excited about that. Beyond the numbers, we're really thrilled to welcome all of our new accredited companies. We had a chance to meet several last night, a really wonderful opportunity to personally congratulate some of our new members. What you see here is we couldn't fit 46 new companies on our slide, but what this slide shows you is just we continue to have a diverse mix of organizations who are achieving accreditation. You see here lots of companies. We have Sikorsky, we have Sun Contractors, we have Phillips Van Heusen. I looked at this slide and I thought, geez, from helicopters to haberdashery, we kind of have it all. But this shows you a diverse mix of our companies who are accredited. We do continue to have a very strong, but not sole presence, but a very strong presence in healthcare. You see here Florida Blue Cross Blue Shield. That marks the 4th Blue Cross Blue Shield organization to receive accreditation, and of course North Shore LIJ. So a really great mix, large and small. As I said last year, there are no small companies and no small lives. Every life counts. So we're really excited about the diversity. And of course, last night we had a really special opportunity to acknowledge Ohio State and Mayo, and I think a little commercial in your little package you see here. Here's a listing of our NCI designated gold standard organizations. Now we have 13, so we're really excited about that. Congratulations on that. For those of you who will say, what's next, because I know that's what I'm going to be hearing, we have a lot in the hopper, so we continue to have our sights set on some very large organizations. I think they have to remain nameless because we don't have them yet, but we have some very large organizations that are in process. Very excited about that. We'll talk a bit about expanding our reach through the global effort shortly. And I think we also have some states perhaps coming on board. So we see most recently the state of Oklahoma has declared that they will go smoke-free. And I think Colorado is going to follow. So maybe next year we'll have one of those maps like in the elections with different colors for different states. So we are not resting on our laurels, and we'll be back next year with well over 3 million. I will commit to that. So that's where we are as it relates to the statistics, the numbers. If we look at the qualitative aspects of our program, and I think this is really important. When I first joined as the task force chair, I was feeling a pretty strong emphasis on numbers and hitting goals. And I think those aspirational targets are really important. I mean, it gives you something to shoot for. But I was very struck by the task force's commitment to quality and continuous improvement, and ensuring that our standard was relevant and up to date and always in keeping with good science. And so in 2011, we also had a few nice improvements, if you will, on the qualitative side. One of the first, we looked at all of our 13 standards across the five pillars, and what we felt was we needed to take a look at the tobacco standard. And you may know here in the audience that the standard had required that we covered at no cost one RX and one OTC product for tobacco cessation. And as we talked with the experts and talked as a group, we felt we really needed to evolve this standard. We know with personalized medicine and with personal choice, and the very true fact that different things work for different people, we felt it was time to evolve the standard to a place where all 7 FDA tobacco cessation products would be covered, perhaps not at no charge, but either no charge or a very reasonable copay, which would correspond to your regular company benefit program. And so we developed that standard. We didn't just ask ourselves, we spoke to the experts. We went to 3 experts in the field of tobacco cessation, you see them here, and got a rousing endorsement for our proposal. So the standard for tobacco has been amended for that, and we feel that's important for a lot of reasons, not the least of which is our goal is to help people quit smoking. And we believe the more vehicles available to them in the form of the 7 products, we feel will maximize our success in helping people quit this really horrific addiction. A second enhancement might feel small, but it's a rigorous standard. It's a bit complex to navigate, so we actually made some changes in the application and the wording of some of our requirements. The goal was to make the requirements clear to anyone who's applying and to streamline the application process, and those have been amended as well. And so between the tobacco standard and the clarity of expression, you see we do have our new evidence and benefits brochure, which captures all of these changes, and we're really pleased about that. And I must give a very special thank you to Sachi, who's been our partner in this and has been fantastic in our support materials. So this is in your little packet as well. Let's see. Speaking of enhancements, just another quick commercial here. What you see here on the screen is our new gold standard website. We've been working a lot on enhancing our resources and making sure that the gold standard really does live and breathe. We talked about this last year, with so much effort and energy goes into getting accredited, but that's really the start, not the end. And so we've been working in partnership with some very talented individuals to increase some of our resources. Here's one I highlight. This site will be live this month. This is for members only, a password-protected site. And you see below, it's a little bit hard to see, but the 3 buttons below really are the 3 featured aspects of this website. The first is called visibility, and you see it there on the right. And this is all about once a company becomes accredited, there are a whole lot of tools and tactics and promotional pieces that can be downloaded and customized with your organization's logo so that you can publish and celebrate and have visible representation in your halls and on your walls and in your cafeteria that you are a gold standard organization. The second button is called Employee Education. We are increasingly convinced that the next horizon for us is all around behavior change. And so this is our attempt through this feature to provide multiple tools and resources and messaging to help employees arm themselves with the information they need for wellness and prevention and tobacco cessation. So in this tab, what we have is messages by every pillar in the gold standard. This allows employers to download information, to customize emails, to point employees to certain features if they're doing certain things in their company. So it's really all about getting education to the employees to arm them to make the best possible choices about their lives and their lifestyles. The third button is called Outreach Support, and this is a really wonderful way for everybody in the gold standard community of companies to connect with one another. I mentioned there are now 122 member companies, but behind every company, there's 2 or 3 people involved. So you do the math and you quickly see we have a wonderful community of folks who could help one another. This feature allows you to search companies. You can sort by industry, by geography, by size. If you're having an issue, if you want to share a best practice, if you need some information, this will quickly put you in touch with a community of folks who are really committed to helping one another. So again, we're really excited about this, and as I said, this is going live this month. So I think that closes it out for 2011. We thought it was a pretty good year. Looking forward to 2012, we heard last night a little bit, and Chris mentioned the notion of going global. Now, for those of you who were here last year, you might recall that Chris did charge us with taking the standard global. A few of us took that on and we said, sure, we can do that, and that's going to be pretty simple. And 5 or 6 of us on the Gold Standard Task Force went into a sub-team, and we discovered really quickly that it was not simple at all. Very complex. If you look at our gold standard, it's very much US-centric. So it requires things like coverage of US FDA medications. It requires health coverage, which in the United States comes through typically employers. But if you begin to imagine doing this in other countries where health care is provided by governments, not so easy to translate. And then you add in things like culture and language, and we found ourselves scratching our heads. But undeterred, we came up with our proposal for the global gold standard. And I'm really pleased to report that our executive committee approved yesterday our proposal, and so we'll be moving forward probably starting this afternoon. So here's what we are proposing. This is phase 1. This is really in the spirit of let's get started, and we'll perfect it better later. So the recommendation is the following. To be considered for the new global gold standard, first of all, you must have U.S. gold standard accreditation. So we will start with companies who have already passed the very rigorous screening and passed muster, if you will, for the U.S. gold standard. So you must be U.S. accredited, and you must be tobacco-free worldwide. Beyond that, what we will do is we will take the remaining pillars, and we will look to have a qualitative assessment of how the organization is meeting the spirit and the essence of the pillar. We believe that this is the way to do it given the very complex world we're living in. We will have 2 hard and fast criteria, U.S. accreditation, tobacco-free worldwide. We will then flesh out qualitative requirements and an assessment process for the remaining pillars and review our applications as they go. So now that we've got the approval, we will flesh out those remaining qualifications. We will formalize the application process, and we'll be working with our executive committee for implementation. And I know that there are many companies in this room, I know, and I am confident will be inaugural members of the Global Gold Standard. So thank you very much for your support on that.